Are people supposed to trust it? That's why you've got to get somebody on the outside.
Of course, but it's also there's this striking irony. So even as the management of NBC clearly ignored sexual misconduct and abuse within their own building, they seemed to pump up and abet wild and unsubstantiated allegations of sexual misconduct against people whose politics they don't like. So, for example, I watched you on a panel at NBC when you worked there last year on Kavanaugh. It was the last story I think you covered before you left. It was Savannah Guthrie and Lester Holt and Chuck Todd were all on this panel. You were the only person on the panel who held out the possibility that maybe Brett Kavanaugh was not a rapist. Did you feel like the only person who was capable of being objective on that question?
Well, I mean, there's no question that the reporting that was done at NBC on somebody like, let's take Julie Swetnick,
right,
who was the completely discredited alleged third accuser against Kavanaugh. This is the woman whose story had, I mean, tons of holes in it. You know, there was a date rape and everybody saw it and then nobody saw it, and she basically imploded on the air. This is an Avenatti client, remember her?
Yes. Vividly.
They went to air with that story with far less trepidation than they showed in going to air on the Harvey Weinstein story, for which they had tapes. They had tapes, they had witnesses, they had women on the record. Rose McGowan was just one of them. And there is a question of why, right? Was it political, as you suggest here? Was it something else? Was it to protect somebody internally, someone who wasn't the women of the company, right? Because here, what Ronan's suggesting is that they covered up for one sexual predator, Harvey Weinstein, in order to protect another, Matt Lauer. They deny all of this, and NBC has put out several statements saying that Ronan is a conspiracy theorist and this is all nonsense and he's got an axe to grind. But if that's true and there's nothing to hide, then get an outside investigator.
Yeah, if there's nothing to hide. There's more to talk about. We're going to take a quick break.
Okay.
We're